In this session, I'm going to be talking about experiment number 27, which is periodic acid oxidation of vicinal diols and related compounds. Here's an outline of what I'm going to be talking about in this session. First, I'm going to talk about the purpose of the experiment, and second, talk about the mechanism, third, the procedure, and finally discuss the positive and negative results. So, what is the purpose of the experiment? The purpose of the experiment is the identification of carbohydrates, but mainly to identify compounds that contain vicinal diols, alpha hydroxyaldehydes, or similar oxidizable groups. But why do we use this test? This test is highly selective, meaning that it targets certain alcohols and aldehydes without affecting other functional groups. So basically, when we use this test, we would know what type of carbohydrate we have. Moving on to the reaction mechanism. Depending on the unknown that we have, we would have different reactions, but the mechanisms are quite similar. So for example, for 1,2-diols, here's an example of the structure of a 1,2-diol, there is selective cleavage. What happens? The periodic acid cleaves the C single bond C between the vicinal hydroxyl groups, producing aldehydes or ketones. While the reaction with alpha hydroxyaldehydes, and here's an example of the structure of an alpha hydroxyaldehydes, it would yield carboxylic acids. We also have beta hydroxyamines and other substrates that also undergo oxidation and provide us with information about what type of organic compound they are. Here's the mechanism of diols. First, we start by reacting the diol with the periodic acid, and the periodic acid acts as an oxidizing agent and coordinates with the hydroxyl groups to form a 5-membered ring. But since this 5-membered ring is highly unstable, there would be a proton transfer from the hydroxyl groups to the negatively charged oxygens attached to iodine. And it would form this ring, which would take us to the final step where the cleavage of C single bond C occurs, producing 2 carbonyl groups. The procedure is quite simple. We first have to start with preparing the periodic acid reagent. How do we do so? We dissolve 0.5 grams of paraperiodic acid in 100 milliliters of distilled water. Then, we place 2 milliliters of the periodic acid reagent in a small test tube and add only 1 drop of nitric acid and shake thoroughly. After the addition of nitric acid, depending on the unknown that we have, whether it's a solid or a liquid, we add 1 drop or few crystals of the unknown compound being tested, and then shake the mixture for around 10 to 15 seconds. After we're done shaking, we add 1 to 2 drops of 5% aqueous silver nitrate solution. And this would lead us to the results. And we have the positive and negative results. The positive result would be the formation of a white precipitate, which indicates that the organic compound has been oxidized by the periodate. While the negative result is the failure to form the white precipitate, or there would be the appearance of a brown precipitate that redissolves upon shaking. Thank you.